Valheim is the surprise hit that feels as though it came out of nowhere and absolutely blew up on the PC market. And in this video, we're going to talk about the game that sounds as if it's got 1,000,001 red flags and reasons not to play it in early access, and explain why we feel it is absolutely worth picking up if you have a PC and you're into this kind of game. So to find out all the reasons why we think it's such a great game at the moment, even though it's in early access and even though it has so many red flags, watch the video to find out. So if you're not familiar with what Valheim is, it's basically a survival RPG type game that's in early access at the moment. And normally when you hear that kind of setup, you think of all the games that have come before that have had features slowly drip fed through to it, and they've never managed to get to the end of development, and they've never been in the most playable state, or they've just been janky and weird. Valheim somehow seems to buck all of those trends, and it delivers an exceptional experience, which is great fun, especially if you're playing with friends. The premise is pretty simple, and you're definitely not going to come to this game for this story. Basically, you are a dead Viking warrior, and Odin has recruited your spirit to go off and defeat all these bosses that have cropped up in his realm, and it just kind of sets you out on this massive open, randomly generated world. So one of the great things about this is the world is completely random, and off you go. You just kind of set off to it with your giant raven friend every so often popping up to give you some helpful hints and tips. That's pretty much it when it comes to the story. So it's more of just exploring and making your own thing and having your own adventure. There are different biomes in the game, so what you'll find is you go off into the meadows, which is pretty much the easy place to be, and then there's the dark forest, which has all the different goblins in it and different types of monsters, but you'll also find better crafting materials when you go out there. Building a base on this game is extremely satisfying, and it's not just about building a hut or somewhere where you can leave all your goods and basically survive. You absolutely get drawn into it. There's something very, very relaxing about it. And personally, what we found is it's because of its, I guess it doesn't lean too hard on the survival mechanic. Even though this is technically a survival game, it's not one of those where if you don't eat or you don't drink, you're suddenly just dying all the time and you're running out of resources and you're just having to resource manage. Those sort of games, for me, I absolutely hate them, and I'm not a survival gamer kind of fan, and Liam isn't so much either, but this game, it has such a good balance of survival to being able to go off and explore. You don't have to worry about base building and then running out of food and then dying and then running out of water and then dying, or running out of energy and then dying. It's a case of these things just buff you. So when you want to go out adventuring, you eat some food and it boosts your health and it boosts your stamina, and you get all sorts of different buffs by having different kinds of drinks and doing that sort of thing. When it starts to rain and you're exposed, your stamina will run down a little bit faster, but you don't just die and you don't get too overexposed. So the balance here of the survival side of things is really, really well managed. So fingers crossed they keep that going through for the same theme of the game and it doesn't change later on in development, because at the moment it feels absolutely brilliant. In terms of a casual player like myself, you're able to go on there and do a load of base building and gathering and stuff like that without having to worry about, just kind of dropping dead because you've not drunk some water recently. So I really like the balance they've got there. For hardcore survival gamers, you might not like that so much because it's not a case of having to manage those resources and you're not just going to suddenly die of thirst. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's something just to be aware of. So I mentioned it being relaxing. Even going out and exploring in the world is really relaxing. When you're going off and you're finding all the different areas to explore, it's just great fun. There's different random buildings and old camps that have been abandoned, and you can kind of go into there, find different things. There's different treasure to find, different crafting materials to find, and it does start to get very tense as you get further into the game. Death is handled really well on this. So when you die, you drop your tombstone and it has all of your stuff in it. So anything you were carrying at the time is left behind. And as your skills get further and further down the line, you'll also get skill debuffs. So when you respawn at your bed, wherever you set it, you then go off to try and get all your gear back, but you'll also have some debuffs as well. So it's not overly punishing in the fact that you lose all your stuff and you kind of have to start again. It's more a case you have to go back, find all your stuff, but you are a little bit weaker for a little while. So it has a really good balance of the death mechanics. It doesn't make it a pointless death, but it certainly has some punishment and it's not too punishing. So again, something that I really like. The thing is, it can get tense because the world is absolutely massive. So an example we had the other day is we were sailing down the coast and we got chased by some sea monsters that we just couldn't fight. We thought we were going to die at sea. However, we managed to get miles and miles and miles away from our original base to pretty much where we wanted to be. But when we got to the beach, we were attacked by a swarm of death mosquitoes and then goblins, which punished us, killed us, and slaughtered us on the beaches. We then had to make our grueling way back to try and find all of our gear, but before doing that, we docked a little bit further down the shore. built ourselves a little base, and then off we went to try and get our stuff back. But my god, was that tense. As we were building our stuff, we were getting attacked by goblins. Trees were falling on us, which is so much fun sometimes when a giant log falls on someone. And then we managed to survive, set our spawn points, and go off and get our gear. The whole thing was really tense, and it really contrasts well with the relaxing atmosphere that the rest of Valheim has. As you explore the world of Valheim, you'll set up numerous different bases, and the best way to play this game is with friends. Now, you can solo it if you want to, but personally, if you're going to play this single player, I don't see the appeal, and when I've had a conversation with Liam as well, he's come to the same conclusion. I definitely don't recommend this for single players. However, if you've got a group of people who want to go off into the world of Valheim, this becomes exceptionally good fun. And you can play it from anywhere from single player up to 10 players. And it doesn't really matter how you do it. We've currently got a party of 4 that go off exploring the wilderness and building different bases. And one of the great things is when you get to a new area, someone can start setting up the basic of the base, and whilst the others go off and just explore what's around that area for you to explore once that base has been set up. It's a really good mechanic, and you can create different portals between your bases because, like I said, this world is absolutely huge. So we've got them scattered across the map all over the place, and you jump into a portal and go to another, and then you go off and explore whilst hunting down clues to find the next bosses. And those bosses, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but they're great fun. You have to do different tasks to be able to summon the boss, and then this big beastie godlike beast will come after you, and you have to take it down. And it's a really good fun challenge, and the bosses look really unique and really fun. So yeah, this is a game that is an early access. It has the survival mantle, and to be honest, when you first start looking at it, the graphics do look completely iffy. It looks like something from years and years ago. Now the graphics might look basic at first, but when you actually start exploring the world, there are some really, really beautiful moments. And even though it is very basic in terms of its art style, it's really, really well done. And it just ends up kind of giving you this complete package. When I first booted it up, I was absolutely appalled and figured, you know what, we are not going to get into this game. It looks so basic, it looks so awful. But then when you start exploring and the sun sets and you see all the reflections and the mist coming through the forest, it really starts to look absolutely amazing. And this game is so much fun to play. Like I said at the beginning, there are so many red flags. It's an early access game. It's a survival game. It's a game that's developed by 5 people, so it's a relatively small studio. But the thing is, it delivers on pretty much everything it sets out to do, and this is the first iteration of it. There's already a roadmap explaining what's going to be coming in the future, and the developers have gone into more detail. They're also explaining they're going to be looking at hiring some more people for their team, so whether or not that's a good or a bad thing, I guess time will tell. However, the great thing is there is a roadmap there are future plans for it, and I cannot wait to see what they do. At this moment, with it being in early access, a lot of the time we say just hang fire and see how things get polished. But right now it feels crazy polished, and it is so much fun to play. We've sunk hours and hours and hours into this game already, and there is still so much for us to go off and adventure and do. I absolutely recommend it. If you are even slightly into this kind of RPG exploration element, it is well worth picking up. Definitely try to play it with some friends. I don't reckon the single player experience will be absolutely brilliant. It's probably going to be entertaining enough, but this game is made for co-op play. So if you've got some friends out there who are all looking to play this sort of game, absolutely worth picking it up. It is a co-op adventure that just feels better than anything else that I've played in this sort of genre before. So well worth picking up. So let us know in the comments if you've got any questions about this or anything you'd like us to cover in the future. And hopefully this video has helped. And if it has, hit the subscribe button and the like button, because it shows that people like this sort of content and want us to continue doing these sort of game review videos in the future. Also helps the channel to grow, which is massively helpful for us. So thank you very much for watching. We will see you again in the future with some more awesome content. Bye for now.